How's everyone doing today? Shankar here right here. Today we're gonna go through the market, see what's going on with the S&P 500. Like we've been saying, we have been anticipating more of a pullback in the market of the S&P 500, and we are getting that right now. So let's see what's lying under the hood of these markets, guys. So without further ado, let's dive right into the charts. All right, guys, so we are looking at the S&P 500, and like we have said, we are in a downtrend at the moment, so we've had this low, this high, this low, lower high, lower low, right? So now we can say this is a lower high, and the reason why we're saying that is because we've broken below this low. So a lower high is only considered a lower high once we've broken down below the previous low. So now we are confirming that this is a lower high, and we are going to be forming a lower low sometime in this sometime we're going to be forming a lower low. But what I wanted to show you guys is if we look at the 200-day moving average, we are underneath the 200-day moving average. We are underneath this support zone, which we were thinking it may have held, but it didn't. And now the S&P 500 is looking bearish at the moment. I mean, bull bear doesn't really matter, we're just in a downtrend, so nothing to really worry about. But you guys want to also consider there's really only 7 companies that have been pushing the price of the S&P 500 up, and now they've like I said, we look at Nvidia, we've had this markup phase, the distribution, and now we're heading lower. So if we look at Nvidia, Google, so I have the 7 companies here: Nvidia, Microsoft, Alphabet, Tesla, Meta, Amazon, and Apple. So these companies are looking like they're in their distribution phase. They're heading down. Let's look at Apple. So if we look at Apple here, guys, we are having lower highs and lower lows, right? So like if we look at the immediate price action, what do we have here? We have a low, we have a lower, we have a high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So we are heading lower, right? We are heading lower on the Apple right now. And then let's look at as well Meta. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla heading lower as well. We've broken below this zone right here, right? And like we said on Meta, if we look out, this does look like a distribution phase, so we are looking that maybe the price will continue heading down, which is totally normal, guys. But because only 7 companies have really been pushing up the S&P 500, what can happen, right? What might happen to the S&P 500 if these companies start losing momentum, and there's no really other companies actually holding up the S&P 500? That can really indicate to us that, hey, we are going to be heading further down as the market is shifting right now. So targets would be, we would look at 38.27, and then we look down here to 35.47. But again, we never know what's going to happen. All we know right now is that we're in a downtrend and we have made a lower low. And, this is indicating to us that we are probably going to keep heading lower until we, make new higher lows somewhere in this market. So we need to form some higher low structure for us to say, hey, okay, we're going to be heading back into an uptrend. So yes, guys, the S&P 500 is looking bearish. So just consider that as we are as the days continues. So let's look at the VIX as well, guys. The VIX, like I said, we are looking at the VIX, and it's looking like we are still in this uptrend for the VIX. Until we break this low, we're looking like we're actually going to have a reversal here on the VIX and head further higher. And then if the VIX does start pushing up, we can anticipate the S&P to head lower. And then as well, guys, if we look at another macro indicator with the 10 versus 2 year, so let me just go here, 10 versus 2 year, we can see here that we are slowly uninverting, and we've had this kind of red red circle here for a while. I mean, it just so happens that it fell into, you know, where I drew it. It so happens to fall into this area. I mean, it could have taken a year or two more. I had no idea. But once we uninvert, guys, you want to understand that there will be some type of drop in the S&P 500. And that's why when DCing in is definitely a good, it's definitely great to DCA into the market. But you also got to remember is where you DCA in matters as well. Just because if you have a massive drop and you just started DCing in, it might take you 5 years just to get back to break even, right? So you want to consider that while you're investing and trading. But yes, guys, right now the S&P 500, the 10 versus 2 year is uninverting at the moment. Once it uninverts, we can anticipate more of a drop in the market. So you just want to consider that, and it's not going to be immediate. Let's just SPX new price scale. And so you can see here, as after we uninverted, and this was a very short-lived, we had 175 days before the price actually had a massive drop. You know, we had a pullback right, you know, while it was uninverting, but we had a massive drop about just under 200 days. So you want to consider that, guys, is that once we uninvert, we will be anticipating some type of drop. It could be 100 days, could be 200 days, but you really want to stay on the lookout for that. And it has happened every single time that we have uninverted from the yield. So we uninverted here, we had a pullback, uninverted here, and started heading all the way up, and we had a major, you know, downtrend here, and the price kept pushing down, and then it finally hit its bottom, and then the price rallied up. So you want to consider that here is that once we uninvert, we can definitely start heading lower, you know, having lower highs and lower lows in the price action once we uninvert. So consider that, guys. If we look at the DXY, it's just getting stronger. Let's look on the weekly and monthly time frame. So on the monthly time frame, so the monthly time frame, guys, you can see we are heading higher for the DXY. So the dollar is getting stronger. So nothing really has changed with the dollar. We are pushing up. If we're looking on the monthly, there's nothing indicating that we are going to head any lower. What we would like to do is just maybe you know, see what happens when we get up to this area here, right? So once we get up to this area, then we can consider, you know, any type of reversal. Unless we get a bearish engulfing candle before we get into this area, there's nothing really indicating to us that we're going to be heading reversing and heading lower. So the dollar index is looking strong. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Mortgage interest rates are looking like they're going to continue heading higher, you know. So I mean, there's nothing showing that we're going to reverse, and as well as property prices. Just remember, where refinances come up next year and the year after. So this is, you know, okay, so we had this bullish engulfing candle here on the daily. So, you know, definitely could hold and come back up. But you want to consider this, guys, is that refinances, you know, from January, so December, so pretty much 2020. So this is about 653 days, so 2 years. So in about a year or two, at least in Canada, mortgages are going to be up for renewals. So you want to consider is that, okay, yes, when the renewals happen, a lot of people may have to take lines of credits out, may have to refinance their homes in this time because they may not have been able to afford a property. They may not have been able to afford certain debts and expenses. A lot of people just had a first or second kid. So that, you know, with the responsibility, you need capital to fund things. So this may head even lower when people refinance, because when they're refinancing, they may have to sell their house at a discount. You know, prices have been coming down. A lot of realtors that I've spoken to, some of them had to discount their prices just to get a property sold. But it is what it is, guys. It's not You know, if you're in that situation, it's very unfortunate. And you know, the type of stress that you go through, like I've already been through, man. You go through so much stress, and it's like the world is fucking ending, man. You know, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities. You know what I mean? So my heart, you know, I never want anyone to experience that, and my heart goes out to anybody that is going through it. And you know, just really creating these videos so that you can understand how the market kind of operates. Because if you listen to the news, you're always going to get fucked over. You're always going to get messed over. And it all happens to all of us. You know, even though, you know, I've known better for a lot of things, sometimes my greed and some of my habits get the best of me, and I make the wrong decision. But at the same time, you get better with time. So, you know, just keep that in mind, guys, is that, you know, this is really what this information is for. So let's go look at Bitcoin, man. Let's go look at Bitcoin. Funded pairs. So Bitcoin right now, guys, we are still, you know, we've broken above this resistance. So there's not really anything to say for Bitcoin right now until, you know, either we come back and test this area or we come all the way up here. I'm waiting for a bearish engulfing candle on the daily for us to see what can happen, what may happen next, or some type of bearish pattern. But just right now, guys, Bitcoin's looking fine. You know, the USDT dominance is still inside this range of consolidation. So, you know, you just want to be careful thinking that it's Bitcoin's going to start mooning and going to the moon. But, you know, we're just inside this range right here for the USDT dominance. So just keep that into consideration. ETH, yes, we broke above here. So it is looking a bit more bullish. But yeah, man, the price action for Ethereum is very choppy, and just consider Ethereum is a very small market cap. I mean, it's a large market cap regarding cryptocurrency, but it's very small regarding the bigger markets. So, you know, the chart on Bitcoin's a lot smoother than ETH and a lot of these other coins. Like if you look at the S&P, it's a lot smoother and easier to trade, as well as for looking at gold. And if we look at gold here, guys, we can see that, okay, we have, you know, we're still heading up, right? So we're looking for this zone right here for it to tap, see what happens. But right now for gold, guys, it's looking bullish. You know, it's looking pretty bullish. If we go on the weekly time frame, you know, we're just, we've had this massive move up, and then we've just been consolidating in here. But let's see what happens when we get up to this area. But if we look at the daily time frame, yeah, we're looking okay, guys. We are looking a-okay for, yeah, we're looking okay. Let me actually pull this down here. Yeah, so let's see what happens. We're just in this consolidation area. Oh yeah, we're just in the zone of consolidation. So let's see if we break above and then continue higher. But, you know, there is a lot more uncertainty. Even a school shooting or a mass shooting just happened yesterday, you know, as well as a war that just happened. So there's a lot of news, you know, a lot of negative news that's happening. So a lot of individuals may want to actually get into gold a lot more. But just consider that we are at a daily resistance zone. So we could have some type of pullback. Yeah, so let's look at the TLT. TLT, yeah, so the TLT is reversing a bit. I mean, we're still in this downtrend for the TLT. So, I mean, until we break above here, you know, we're still in this downtrend. You know, we formed this low right here, and then this came below. So unless we break above this and start making higher highs, we're still in the downtrend. So you just want to keep that into consideration as you're investing and trading. You know, that yes, we are actually for the TLT showing that we are more risk on, but the VIX, the VIX, the 10 versus 2 year gold are showing, and the S&P 500 is showing that we may have more of a pullback. So you want to consider that if we do have a bigger pullback, what does that mean for Bitcoin? What does that mean for altcoins? Because Bitcoin and altcoins are such a small market that if we do have a massive pullback with the S&P 500, then these smaller assets will definitely get destroyed a little bit, right? So you want to always consider that while you guys are investing in trading, is that, hey, where am I safe? And sometimes cash is the safest position. Sometimes just waiting out, just holding cash is the safest position. And so, yeah, guys, that's really it for today's video. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And tune in next time for more macro news, charts, really, whether it's Bitcoin, S&P 500, stocks, just hit me up, message below, and I will be more than willing to do an analysis of a company, whether it's technical or fundamental. And, enjoy your day. Take care.